V'yitalal Shemei Ku D'Shah Beriku. Ela Min Kol Barakata Vashirata Tushbagata Vanekmata Damiran Ba'alma. Vimeru Amen. Al Israel Ve'al Rabbanan Ve'al Talmidei Ve'al Kol Talmidei Dasakin Boreta Kadishta Di Batara Chaden Ve'deba Kol Atar Ve'atar Yehe Lana Ulchon China V'Chatida Barachami Men Kadam More Shemaya V'Arefe V'Yimaru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabban Men Shemaya V'Chaim V'Yisaba V'Yishua V'Nechmacha V'Yishava V'Urefua V'Nagula V'Selicha V'Kafara V'Ruye V'Hatzala Leinu Ulchol Amo Israel Osei Shalom Bimromav Hu Barakamav Yasei Shalom Aleinu V'Yakol Israel V'Yimaru Amen. Exalted and holy is his great name in the universe that he has created according to his desire, and may his kingdom reign with the fruition of his salvation, and may his Mashiach come speedily. May he rescue his nation in your lifetime and in the lifetime of all Israel quickly and expeditiously. And all say Amen. May his great name be blessed forever and ever. Blessed, lauded, esteemed, exalted, lifted up, honored, praised, and extolled is the name of the Holy One. Blessed be he, above and beyond from all blessings, songs, adoration, consolation, that may be expressed or uttered in this world. And all say Amen. And upon Israel, their rabbis, their pupils, and those learning from them, they who occupy themselves in the holy Torah, here and everywhere abroad, may there be for us, them and you, favor, kindness, and mercy from the ruler of heaven and earth. And let us say Amen. May abundant peace descend from heaven with life, gratification, deliverance, alleviation, salvation, healing, redemption, pardon, atonement, and ease for us and for all of your people Israel. And we all say Amen. As he who makes harmony in his high place, may he in his mercy place peace upon us and upon all his people Israel. And let us all say Amen. Shabbat Shalom. One love to each and every one of you, to the Bukharim, Imot, Morim, Akim, Akiot, Yeladim, hallelujah. One love to you. I want to begin by acknowledging Moray M70 for the continual fire that he brought today in the nature of power, which is so awesome because it's just a transition into understanding what will be presented by myself. But that was very lucid. That was very, very well put together. It was a stream that just flowed into the depths of consciousness and recesses of understanding truly how to operate with power and how these devils also operate with their power as well. We got to understand their machinations in order to counter and overcome. So Todah Rabbah for that, as well as for your reading of the Parsha this week, Sav, as well as your Tefillah and the vibrations that you played, Todah Rabbah. To Moreh Shebaniah, Todah Rabbah for your insight in your reading of the Half Torah from Nasi Yemayahu, Nabi Yemayahu, Todah Rabbah, Aki, hallelujah. And so today, I have a presentation for you, just brief. I want to make it not too long. I have 6 articles, 2 passages, and 2 videos. Hopefully they should flow. But the name of this presentation today is called End Time Madness. End Time Madness. What in the world is going on? How is it possible? And this isn't part of the presentation, but this is things that I see, that I'm at the scene of the Boston, the Paris, and the Brussels attacks. But he's being hailed as some miracle teenager. When initially my thought was this ninja got something to do with all of these things. The probability of this young Mormon being on each of those locations during the attacks is 1 in probably infinite chances. It's a classic asset or a classic uh, agent in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Some patsy. But that is end time madness. But most people, I was talking to people at my office, and they're like, it's just coincidence. Okay, believe that if you want. I know better. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and looks like a duck. That's a doggone duck. Ain't no such thing as coincidence. Exactly, Caleb. But even more significant is what is this dude doing there? Very, very, very hair raising or eyebrow raising, shall I say. But let me go ahead and get into this without any further ado. Let's go ahead and start. I want to go to Psalm 2. Moraim 70, Bavakashah, Tehelim, Stein, Psalm 2, if you don't mind, Bavakashah. We're going to read it in its entirety. This is what frames this particular this window of information we're about to go into. Why do the Gentiles rage? Why did the seed of Japhet, as M70 just completely brought out, why are the seed of Japhet raging and the peoples meditating emptiness? The sovereigns of the earth take their stand, and the rulers, here we go, these powers take counsel together against Yah and against his Mashiach. This is what this all boils down to, brothers and sisters, elders and emot. It is a council and a war against Yah and against his Mashiach. And they say, let us tear apart their bonds and throw away their ropes from us. Remove the covenant. Get rid of the eternal law. Let's replace it with international law. With civil law. He who is sitting in the heavens laughs. Yah mocks at them. Then he speaks to them in his wrath and troubles them in his rage, saying, but I have set my sovereign on Sion, my set apart mountain. That's where the true kingdom and government shall be established. I inscribe for a law. Yah writes the law. He is the king. He is the judge. He is the lawgiver. It is he who will save us. Yah has said to me, you are my son. Today I have brought you forth. Ask of me, and I make the seed of Japhet, the Gentiles, your inheritance, and the ends of the earth your possession. Break them with the rod of iron. Dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. And now be wise, O sovereigns. Be instructed, you rulers of the earth. Know your limits. Serve Yah with fear and rejoicing. And most significantly, kiss the Son, lest he be enraged, and you perish in the way, for soon his wrath is to be kindled. Blessed are all those taking refuge in him. Now, let's just take a look at what's taking place in the world. We have, of course, the West just, shedding blood everywhere and creating monsters to go out and justify their war on terrorism, to justify their war on drugs, to justify whatever proxy, covert, or even just blatant wars that they have. But we have to understand that this again is a concerted effort to remove the bonds and to throw away the ropes so that they can usher in their own system. But in the East, you have this group named ISIS. And what they have done recently is gone on a tear of violence. Of course, these are those who have been propped up by the West. And I want to be drawing ancient artifices and sites. This is the hard link. I'm going to play the link that I have in this room for you all. And I just want you to take note of this. Endtime Madness. This is a video. I'll just let it speak for itself. Loading. Temple of Baal coming to New York and London. The Temple of Baal. Let me go back. Here we go. You may want to mute yours. This will play here. End Time Madness. A temple of Satan soon to be erected in New York City and London. And we know that the objective of the Palladian rite is to unveil the pure and unadulterated doctrine of Lucifer unto the world after they have been exhausted of dealing with atheism and what he that is Pike called Christianity. When you get this article here, let's make this clear why they're going about doing this. Give me a 4. This article here comes to us from Euromed, but it's also taken from Veterans Today. The article is entitled "The Devil, His Works, and His Disgusting Doings Through Illuminatis, Jesuits, Masons Pact with Him." Now, again, the boy's name that was at all 3 of those locations, who is a Mormon, is Mason Wells. Okay? So this is a very, very symbolic step that these devils have taken to put this all together. But we're going to take a look at this article here. Again, the theme of this presentation is called End Time Madness. There is an end game to all of this. Let's be clear about it. And that is to roll out and attain, and that is the roll out and attainment of a globalist NWO system of war, mass death, destruction, and hell on earth in order to produce, here we go, a one world satanic regime that they control. That is what this all comes down to. In the last 20 years, they have suffered delays and obstructions and are becoming more desperate. They know their time is short as the U.S. petrodollar is eroded daily. So every day their options become more limited and I would say also more desperate. They're doing things in desperation, and that, Mr. Carr, is dangerous and deadly. To readers of this blog, the following will come as no surprise. I've often written about these things, but there are gruesome elements that I have not pointed out so clearly as Gordon Duff does. He is a writer for Veterans Today. I shall pass over Duff's description of the Satanism exposed at the Cibolo Ranch of the Masonic Order of St. Hubertus, which we covered, which is where Scalia was murdered, Judge Scalia, Antonin Scalia, and how that is a Jesuit and even a Opus Dei operation, okay? But this is in connection with the murder of Judge Scalia, who was a pedophile. Just repeat the abominable testimony of pedophilia and sacrificing, here it is connected to the temple of Baal, to Lucifer, eating of the babies of a 15-year-old girl in England. You can watch this 60 Minutes episode there. Okay, the Order of St. Hubertus to the left. But Gordon Duff of Veterans Today on March 19th said, above and beyond it all, we assert our secret societies which share almost invariably an esoteric underbelly of quasi-religious adherence to angels, demons, and earthly gods. Okay, this is the dining room at the Ciblo Ranch here. You can see the demonic images that are posted and placed in their dining room. To survive, to defend ourselves, we have to finally admit we recognize in Hebrew vision, but there are real cults and that they have risen to preeminence in the world. They have power, as M70 just talked about. They are not my judge, but they are judges, bankers, presidents. They run think tanks. They control nuclear arsenals, the media. They decide what we learn, what we see, what we hear, and what we believe. These are the ones who are in control of the world. But this is why Yehoshua HaMashiach said, my kingdom is not of this world. And this is what we have to understand. This is what Revelation 18:4 says. Come out of her, my people. It is why it states that. 1, we could spend not just months, but years discussing Freemasonry, product of Jesuit Rosicrucians. See more below, as a social organization, or in Britain, a cult that through its penetration of Scotland Yard, the Metropolitan Police, and the security agencies threatened British security through covering up a pedophile ring that continues to rule Britain. Kesh, the individual above, came to us with solid proof that Sterling Allen, working directly with an elite group in Belgium, what's going on in Belgium now? But he was operating inside the Free Energy Committee online, recruiting children through sex trafficking. Our information is that it was Justice Scalia of the U.S. Supreme Court who was protecting Sterling Allen. Kesh presented a wealth of solid evidence, videos, emails, more than a network existed that tied New Age types to not only online recruiting, but to non-governmental organizations working in South and Central America, in Africa, and the Middle East were involved as well. We found organizations that were running schools and orphanages, Palestinian scholarships, help for abused and displaced mothers from Lebanon to Morocco to Mexico and Brazil, all involved in stealing children. How demonic can you get? These groups plant themselves near the camps in the Middle East, preying on the Palestinians or working with ISIS to traffic Syrian and Iraqi Christians and Shiites with full support of Turkish organized crime and suspected complicity with their intelligence services and political leadership as well. 2, hands down, the Jesuits worship the devil. Father Malachi Martin, interviewed by VT's Gordon Duff. Years ago, I was talking with a former Jesuit named Malachi Martin. Martin had been working in the Vatican and had been forced out by what he claimed was a Satanist cabal from among the Jesuits, of which the current Pope, which is Pope Francis I, comes from that particular rank and file. He claimed they had been in contact with demonic entities and had consecrated the Holy See in the name of Satan. So the reason why there's not a Temple of Baal being put up in Vatican or in Rome is because that is where the throne is presently. Okay, and this was during the Masonic Vatican II Council after receiving proof of a manifestation of the power of evil. Now listen to this paragraph. After the enthronement of Satan as the head of the Catholic Church in the night between 28 and 29 of June 1963 in the Pauline Chapel of the Vatican, this chapel was deprived of its Madonna and crucifix and not used for many years. And this is in Chiesa Viva 2012, below the Pauline Chapel in 1960 on the left and 1978 on the right. After the enthronement of Satan, and you will notice this, no pope has worn the triple tiara, the papal crown, which belongs to the head of the church, which we know is Satan. Okay, you can see the transitioning of the Pauline chapel there. This is a Easter service, interestingly, tomorrow, that Pope Francis declares Lucifer as God. He did it in 2014. He did it last year. You can be best assured this year is going to be a special focus on that reality. Martin said they cut a deal and were given promises and some very material in nature, as we read in Matthew and Luke 4, as Satan offered Yahushua all the kingdoms in their esteem if they only bow and worship him. So here we know that this church has received that. And according to Martin, the rewards reaped by the Jesuits were material as well. And you can see for Francis worshiping Lucifer again. So that relationship involved participating in ceremonies as depicted in not only dozens of films, such as Rosemary's Baby, the exorcism of Emily Rose, and all these other things, but in ancient wood carvings as well. Human sacrifice, killing of children, often newborn infants, dancing and chanting incantations while wearing headdresses depicting horned beasts or demons. These Vatican rites Martin makes reference to in Windswept House and his other best-selling books are also the innocent ceremonies of Bohemian Grove or Hubertus, or the yearly get-togethers on the solstice in Denver or at the Rothschilds compound at Corfu. At the table of Rothschilds, they always set a place for Lucifer. According to witnesses, they are said to have been Satanists for many generations. You can take a look at one of their celebrations there. Martin said that he said this of the Jesuits: they simply tired of Christianity. The unanswered prayers, they sought a voice at the end of the phone, and such a voice was there waiting for them. It was Lucifer or Hillel. And the church of today is based on them abandoning the Most High, not out of a loss of faith, but out of Yah's unwillingness to meet their price. Father Malachi Martin tells about Satanism and Luciferianism in the Vatican. You can take a look at that video there for yourself as well. And lastly, 3, the bankers of the Vatican, the Rothschilds, pact with the devil, who are also Knights of Malta, okay, and Jesuits. Duff tells, one of my friends is a longtime associate of Nathan Rothschild. The Rothschild family, according to a highly placed source, cut a deal 4 centuries ago with an unseen power. Interesting number, 4 centuries, right? 400 years. This power, I was told, and according to the Rothschilds, is not evil or satanic or anything like that, whatever. They just came on entities somewhere in Germany long ago that agreed to help the family gain power and earthly dominion in exchange for a few things. Talk about souls. They done lost their soul. Each male member of the family would, at age 25, and I know someone who has witnessed this, go through an investiture ceremony. There, the young Rothschild allows an unseen entity to enter him. This entity, as they tell it, lives outside time and space and has been on Earth for hundreds of thousands of years. Their reward is help against enemies, knowledge of the future, and a guarantee of an afterlife of their choosing. It seems that wearing masks, dancing in circles, debasing and murdering children, starting wars, and even running central banks is all a part of it. What is also supposed to be true is that these secret societies that include the highest levels of Freemasonry. What can be stated here categorically, as a fact, is based on irrefutable sources, is that these elites believe they are teamed up with beings that came to Earth while mankind was in its infancies, beings that waited for centuries to establish their power. And you can see this in the music industry where people sell their souls. They clearly state that. I'm not going to read any more of this article. But we're going to understand their machinations and their modus operandi, how they operate. Okay? End time madness. This is all end time madness. When you access this next article, Babaka Shah, give me a 4. This comes to us. The name of this article is called Controlled Chaos as a Tool of Geopolitical Struggle. It's really an article from South, which is a website that provides analysis and intelligence on clandestine warfare of the 21st century. Okay, very interesting article here. Hold out for your fours. Let me get a few more fours, being that we have about 41 people in this room. We want you all to be engaged in this matter. Okay, controlled chaos as a geopolitical tool. Nowadays, a variety of means are being used to implement and extend the controlled chaos in the national economy and societies in the geopolitical struggle. The actor who is using the tool is maintaining the controlled chaos within the opposing country. Steve took part in the developing of many of the current chaos hotspots in various parts of the world. Speak to use increased level, strongly worded criticism and causing controlled chaos to secure and promote U.S. national interests. This is ironic. Okay, so the U.S. is a political, militaristic head, this three-headed monster, of which the city being the economic and the power behind it all, city being the spiritual conduit of Satan, leading goal that they have. Okay, so he is a key figure, Stephen Mann, behind the development of a means of furthering U.S. national interests. Mann was born in 1951, graduated from Oberlin College in 70 languages. Here we go back to that place again, German. MA in German literature, and has been a member of the Foreign Service since 1976. He was a Nazi. He received the Harriman Institute for Advanced Soviet Studies Scholarship 85 there for the elite. He graduated from the National in Washington, D.C. He began his career as a U.S. Embassy staffer. Later, he worked in Moscow, SSR desk in the State Department, and at the State Department Operations 24-hour crisis center. He served as the acting chief of mission in Micronesia, which is Mongolia and Armenia. Between 91 and 92, he worked at the U.S. Department of Defense dealing with Russia and Eastern Europe, and in 92 through 94, he was assigned as deputy ambassador. This, you can bring the dismantling of the already existing nation states, traditional cultures, and organizations can be accomplished by these steps. One, de-ideologizing the population. This is why in this room we always emphasize the thrust of ideology. Without an ideology, you have no unification. With unification, you become easy to dismantle and conquer. That is the classic divide and conquer tactic. When ideology causes leaders, guys, that means you just become foundations. Two, the ballast of the already existing values and replacing them with one's own. We're seeing assimilation take place here. Citations, especially among the elite. So let's get away from spiritual values and get more to material values. 4, loss of control over the economy and its ultimate destruction. We're seeing that take place global, ethnic, or religious character. Can you see all of these things in the pot? Once implemented, these key policies lead to color revolutions. Controlled chaos theory is based on reforming the mass conscious worldviews and the spiritual sphere by subjecting individuals to modern means of manipulation, not nation. Okay? It amounts to a global psychological operation that is polarization and replaces it with a cult of money and of social Darwinist stereotypes concerning the role of an individual in society by over others. Okay, and the masses' ability to offer resistance through self-organization is thus diminished because they have cut off the head. There's no ideological basis for the group. Okay, that is what strangles them. Given the effects of such technologies, the control use to the architects of the New World Order. This is Agenda 21 par excellence, the depopulation agenda. Okay, and what are they calling it now? The Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, this is also dealing with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TTIP, okay, and the TTP. This is all a part of this. Okay, this is also a part of the Pope's recent encyclical about depopulating as well. The sexual revolution, propaganda of hedonism, individualism, and consumerism reduce birth rates. Social Darwinism, and of course we can throw Planned Parenthood in there. Social Darwinism and the transhumanist movement, let me put that in there as well. Social Darwinism and indifference to the suffering of close ones deprive people of their will to live and increase death rates. The large number of poor and homeless people amounts to a de facto euthanasia mechanism as people in these categories die quickly. Let's see. I'm sorry, my computer's kind of slowing down. It's not moving. Okay, though more people are pulled down to replace them. Two, the objectives of destroying a nation states that impose control over them is intercepted by transnational corporations. This is what these are for. Crime syndicate, super, and that's talking about like the EU, so on and so forth. And these answer to those who employ controlled capabilities. Their tasks combine soft power with barbaric military aggression. You can look at Yugoslavia, Iraq, Ukraine, Libya, Syria, okay? All these places here. Burundi. This process facilitates the aggressor's control over the global financial, military, and information resources. We should note that the US and EU economies grow not by increasing their output, but by reapportioning wealth between the strong and weak states. This is accomplished by weakening the nation state, usually by drawing it into a debt trap, privatization, and buying up all manner of national assets, including natural ones. And we're seeing that in America completely from Detroit, Flint, Michigan, Detroit. You can see Chicago, you can see New Orleans, any urban center, you're seeing all these machinations take place. Under the pressure of the financial institutions, the nation state becomes a tool of this type of globalization by privatizing and reducing expenditures on social needs or on maintaining science and culture. States also organize mass illegal labor migrations, which render individual workers much cheaper, which deprives them of rights. In combination, the two tasks deprive the target state of its ability to function as an international actor. It is a covert way of eliminating economic competitors. The main symptoms of the loss of one's sovereignty include the inability to perceive and interpret the situation. No critical analysis, no critical thinking. And this would then prevent them from rising above it to assert their identity and the ability to implement bold breakthrough ideas. It cripples them. When you lose your sovereignty, it cripples you. As a result, one, the state is no longer self-serving. It does not have a development strategy, and it cannot ensure decent living conditions for its citizens and guarantee constitutional rights. Well, this is because, as we just read earlier with M70, the state is a work of art. It is a fictional entity. We have to understand the importance of a kingdom. We have to get from temporal power to real power. Okay? This is what we have to understand. The spiritual power, too. Corrupt officials play a key role in controlling the economy and society. And every candidate in this doggone race is corrupt. Make no mistake about it. Some maybe to a lesser degree, but at the end of the day, they got some dark cloud over their head that the powers that be can shake and wiggle and have something fall out to have them get in line and do what they need to do for them. Three, the middle class is disappearing, except in Africa. The middle class in Africa is expanding. It is being disorganized and alienated. Four, political parties and movements are mere facades. Make no mistake about that. Five, societal movements have no actual effect on politics. So, really, you can look at Black Lives Matter all day, but it's not going to have any impact on the true politics of the day. And six, citizens are passive and have major identity problems, state, ethnic, family. This is why Hebrew vision is imperative. Not just essential, but imperative. It is matters of life and death. It is critical to have Hebrew vision as Israelites in these times. And lastly, let's look at a few examples of controlled chaos implementation aimed at depriving foundations of national independence. One, neutralizing the drive to develop, destruction of state policy apparatus by seeding it with agents of influence, infection through corruption, promoting a cult of money, government bureaucratization, removing the scientific community from influencing the country's policies. We're not making decisions based on true evidence and scientific investigation. You're just going off of whimsical discussion. So, like, as opposed to having true people going into our master myth making, the market will fix everything. Two, blocking the reaction reflex, mass export of cult organizations, use of political technologies, election campaigns, transforming the media into market actors, promoting a primitive mass culture. Three, destroying communication links, individualization through neoliberalism, the atomization of society. Do what you will, it's now a wholly and completely relative society in which we live. Destroying community ties, destroying transport networks, promoting ethnic and religious. Clay Willie Lynch. That's what this is. This is a modern day Willie lynching of all of society, not just us anymore, but they lynching everybody. Four, reducing the ability to influence events, use of manipulative techniques in election campaigns, promoting neoliberal ideologies such as individualism or atomization, promoting the cult of money and a system of primitive values, shutting down independent media, promoting corruption and criminalization. I mean, this is just what we see here. Everything. I'm not going to read that article anymore. Exactly. All of these elements that they're introducing into society for depopulation, for the purpose of controlling society, is well into play. Now, this article again comes to us from Veterans Today, looking at Belgium. This is controlled chaos, people. This is end time madness. When you access this article, please give me a 4. We're going to look at the symbolisms that are related to this event. Okay? The name of this article, coming to us again from Veterans Today. 22 false flag. Gladio strikes Brussels on satanic holiday. Let me get more for us. This is by Kevin Barrett. He wrote this on March 20. If you believe Muslim satanic, their groups after pagan goddesses, real estate in Mesopotamia to sell. Here we go. They don't do that. Radical Muslim, extreme puritanical types, holidays, least days of Satanists. Yet we are folks of has just conducted the Temple of Baal, see the connections in a major satanic holiday. And it's somehow all the fault of the day or 322 is not only the emblem of America's leading CIA Freemasonic elite group, Skull and Bones. You can see 322 who they're saying that is. 322 is of 3 satanic feasts of Pelusia, consists the invocation. Do you see the connection to this? Know exactly Lucifer satanic order on earth, with temples now being erected in New York and London, epicenters. Jim Dean says you can't make stuff up. He's understanding the case. That's the blood supposedly at the Brussels airport, which, by the way, I mourn human loss, but understand. Malcolm said it best. You know, this is another classic case of chickens coming home to roost. In Africa, especially in the Congo, under King Leopold, millions of Africans that he attacked, that they stole. I can't do that. I can't do anything for France. I can't. That's the way that I mourn for what happened in Kenya last year, 47, Nigeria, where Boko up by the is slaughtering people. I can't more and not even televise or make mention in the media what's taking place on my continent. And you're exactly right, Banks. They have just invoked ISIS. Yep, exactly what it is, Sheb. Power. On 322, they also pay this coming up Sunday, Ishtar, fertility, war, and sex. And it's better view. It's modern day northern Iraq, northeast Syria, and southeast Turkey. That would be the territory that is currently ruled by, yep, you guessed it, none other than ISIS. Articles keep on jumping around. It's loading for some reason. 1 second. I apologize for the delay. For some reason, this is still loading. Too much open. Close some of this down. Okay. Let's see what we can get going. Hopefully sooner than later. So let me just get to where I am. It says Muslims are not big on pagan goddesses. Trust me. ISIS. So if your eyes aren't rolling and screaming WTF, you're not paying attention. Same the Mason Wells thing. This person who wrote this has been free as a PhD Islamic studies component. One thing that he can tell you is that observing satanic holy days associated with ISIS and Ishtar is an interesting choice of words he uses there. Kosher, huh? Muslims are not on pagan goddesses. Trust the writer. ISIS is a U.S. Zionist group. It has nothing to do with Islam. Muslims are not into human sacrifice. The biggest Muslim holiday, Eid, celebrates the end of human sacrifice. And now I'm paused again. This article don't want to move. Bear with me, fam. Just got a couple of technical difficulties. And if it keeps giving me these difficulties, what I'm going to do, it crashed. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. You can read that article on your own. I'm going to get to the namesake of today's lesson, an article entitled Endtimes Madness. This is the article from which this presentation receives its name today. Endtime Madness. Let me get a 4 when you access this article, please, and thank you. Comes to us from Millennium Report. Endtime Madness. Okay, this is a serious condition, a sight condition that needs to be reckoned with. So here we go. This is by the health coach, taken from the health coach. So certainly there are many. Well, let me go back up and start there. Who among us does not know someone who has gone over the edge these days? How many in our own families have gone very close to the edge? Certainly there are those co-workers, neighbors, or friends who flirt with this emerging condition of the mind as much as it is a condition of the soul, which is sometimes known as end-time madness. Many a health coach, wellness counselor, and integrative health consultant have been forced to confront this new age malady. Now, the reason why this article here and the last article that I'm going to present before I read the passage and play the video is because we need to know what the remedy is for all of this stuff. Because what's so beautiful about being in Torah and in Mashiach is while the world is aflame around you, the beauty is we become that flame as well, and we become immune and in a bubble, if you will, to what is going on around us. We are at peace because we know what is going on. We see all these things coming together, and it gives us a sense of comfort and security knowing that all these things are taking place for a reason. And it is to rid the world of the wicked. And and the unrighteous and the unyali, and to usher in Yah's kingdom so we have an understanding and a peace of mind in the midst of all this. So you have chiropractors and acupuncturists, osteopaths and homeopaths. You can be sure that the general practitioners, family practitioners, and internists have been kept plenty busy trying to figure this one out, as have the psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, and the psychotherapists whose specialty is to assist with such imbalances of mind and heart, spirit, and soul. But guess what? They are not able. They are not trained. They are not given the tools needed in order to prepare remedies for the soul and the spirit. This is where Israel steps into the fold. We are the healers that Yah has called forth as priests to provide souls with deliverance, with salvation from all of these matters that are consuming individuals left and right. So exactly what are we talking about when we say end time madness? We live in a world that is moving very, very fast. It will continue to move even faster, especially for the parents of many baby boomers. It has become extremely difficult for them to process all the societal changes and accommodate the day-to-day flux. Theirs was an entirely different world, and most of them have deliberately chosen not to go with the flow of the new millennium. This situation has created a disconnect between them and us. For many of these elderly folks, they have been on a regimen of pharmaceutical medications for much of their adult life. These have taken a great toll on their mental faculties, emotional posture, and psychological profile. They are possessed by the sorcerers and the sorceresses of Big Pharma. The upshot is that it doesn't then take very long for a new state of mind to emerge when they are confronted with the overwhelming number and diversity of demands that postmodern life places on them. I'm not going to read that cartoon. But how many of us have had tremendous challenges dealing with our parents or watched our peer acquaintances do the same? As they reach the twilight years, many of these very traditional and conservative folks have quite a time dealing with so many of life's challenges and unforeseen obstacles. We are trauma-induced people. The world is being traumatized with all of these mad events that are taking place. We're being desensitized. We're being indoctrinated. We're being made numb in light of all of the madness that is going on during these end times. They do their best, their very best, but often they segue over to a state of being which can be characterized as highly self-defensive and self-protective, even I would say paranoid. Their quickly constructed fortresses then keep out those who they need the most and whose love they crave. This is just one example of perhaps the most vulnerable segment of the population that has become particularly susceptible to end time madness. It can only be expected with our dear old parents as they leave this incarnation at a pivotal point in the evolution of the human race. So much going on contrary to their traditions, values, principles, and religious beliefs. Truly, it's a wonder how they stood up so well in the face of such awesome and meteoric change. There are other demographics showing signs of end time madness. We live in a time that demands resilience, acceptance, and patience. When was the last time on planet Earth when you could be privy to every major and minor happening around the globe in real time, no less? You probably have to go back several ages and tens of millennia to find a similar set of planetary circumstances. True, the end of the age, especially the end of what the author calls Kali Yuga or the Iron Age, always bring an extremely unique set of challenges throughout every sphere of life and at every level of existence. It sounds pretty daunting, doesn't it? Well, it is, especially for those cultural creatives, bleeding hearts, emotional empaths, and sensitive souls who fail to shield themselves from the craziness which abounds in society. Craziness? What do we mean by craziness? We're talking about 500 plus channels of craziness on the TV, which is a weapon of mass deception. We're talking about print media, much of which is morphed into tabloid fare. We're talking about shock radio that does just about every time you turn it on. We're talking about educational system which exposes every child to dangerous vaccines, substandard cafeteria food, and courses replete with pap and pablum. We're talking about social media which now defines the public discourse and focuses on whatever. Please don't misunderstand what the writer is saying. He's not saying that all of these forms of media don't have a flip side which can be used for the good, as we use here in Hebrew Vision. They certainly do, and those with common sense gravitate to those aspects of the media which truly educate, enlighten, and empower. What's the point? We live in a world which is increasingly taken over by sound bites where someone can be marginalized instantaneously for posting words of wisdom, a perceptive insight, or simple common sense. As the gates of irrationality close throughout the many fortresses of societal institutions, those who are the free thinkers and the truth seekers are ostracized and often defamed. When the collective conscience leaves the reservation, we definitely have a problem. And in many cases, a very serious problem, which inevitably causes blowback throughout the entire society. This is when the many different forms of end time madness can really start to manifest anywhere and everywhere. Because just as the print media part of life has gone absolutely bonkers, so has every other sphere of life going into full tilt mode. Be it family and friends, co-workers or business associates, fellow athletes or card players, stuff seems to be jumping off everywhere lately. When you overlay on this unfolding scenario the manifold stressors in everyday life, which are operative within every domain from financial and economic to political and social, from the environmental and ecological to health and wellness, things start to pop both when you least expect it or when you've waited for decades for stuff to happen. Literally, 8 gaskets are blown at once. You see the steady stream of headlines across Newswire containing one guy or gal after another going postal everywhere except the post office. March Madness is now fully underway. On the health and wellness front, we can see it on everyday websites like Mercola and naturalnews.com, Natural Society, the Health Code, so on and so forth. Likewise, there's an unprecedented proliferation of social media dedicated to the same concerns. Facebook, Twitter, and many other social networks are utilized to advocate a new environmental cause, pursue a critical health mission, or post the next great ecological change facing humankind. Stress and overload and stimulation overload. Shabbat shalom to you and yours, Nonard, and to others who just recently entered into the room. We're reading today's presentation namesake article, Endtime Madness. We're on the stress and stimulation overload part of the article. Having access to these many and multifarious outlets is very good, except that overexposure to the whole gamut available in cyberspace can produce a phenomenon known as stimulation overload. It can manifest as ADD, ADHD, autism in children who have had the unfortunate karma of being over-vaccinated, having been fed an all-American junk food diet, having spent their entire childhood hooked up to technology instead of to nature or athletics or other wholesome childhood pastimes. This is where things can get a little tricky for all of us trying to navigate the information superhighways, especially while negotiating the local highways and byways. You know the young lady or gentleman who just began her first professional job and she's driving down the interstate at 7 a.m. while talking on the cell phone, putting on her makeup, or he's still shaving with his electric, drinking the morning coffee, and preparing for the Monday morning meeting all at once. Did we say stress? Did we also forget to mention the 5 or 8 or 12 pharmaceutical medications that either has just been taken before walking out the door? This portrayal of Monday morning madness truly becomes the picture of end time madness when you throw the fuel of powerful prescriptions on the fire of daily stress. That sounds like an altar, doesn't it? Something we just read about this week. Especially when you're driving down jam-packed interstates with who knows how many others that fit this profile to the T. As this scenario plays itself out over and over, the likelihood is being ratcheted up exponentially of our once nicely ordered society hitting the proverbial wall. The day-to-day practical living of our own lives has been put into higher gear over the past few years, with so much that even the most capable, competent multitasker in the whole darn building would be highly challenged. As time is compressed and obligations seem to multiply, the number of daily activities and mundane tasks seem to forever increase, while the time available to complete them appears to continually diminish. How do you spell stress? How we deal with this little reality of life in 2012 and beyond will dictate to a great extent how far away we stay from even a hint of end time madness. For those completely uninitiated in this type of discussion, please be aware that even the best of us can be caught unaware when we least expect it, even after we have shined the light of awareness on it. And I'm going to pause on that note with this article because that leads perfectly to my last article, which is a very important article in light of everything going on in relation to end time madness. The name of the article is called Born with Awareness, and it comes to us from the Money and Markets website. It is written by a Jeff Cantor. Please give me a 4 when you access this article. This is my last article. I will have a video and a scripture to read, and then I will turn this over to our last presenter for the day. Let me get some more 4s. I hope that what you all have received so far has been truly insightful as relates to end time madness. But this article here is crucial in dealing with end time madness, being born, or I would even say reborn, with awareness. The events of this week in Brussels show that, as I have said, anything can happen anywhere at any time. And your safety, your sanity in such a tragic event starts with you and the awareness of your surroundings. Picture the scene in The Bourne Identity in which Jason Bourne glances around a diner and quickly gets a read on the sight lines and on where all the exits are located. You gotta survey your area. He had already memorized the 6 license plates on the vehicles that were in the diner parking lot and had identified clear markers in body language of all the customers within the diner to determine potential danger. Are you casing the joint for your safety and your people's safety? Are the people who actually have these skills in real life? Yes, there are. Do you need this level of extraordinary awareness of your surroundings to improve your day-to-day personal safety? The answer is no, but as I pointed out last week, there are 3 elements of the security mindset: recognizing that threats and bad people do exist, accepting responsibility for your own personal safety and security, and trusting the little voice inside you. Yes, indeed. That's the old football term. Keep your head on a swivel so you don't get that crack back. You don't want that crack back. Keep your head on a swivel. Well, situational awareness is a 4th component of the security mindset that is building a building block for your personal security. How do you become better at observing your surroundings and detecting when something is not right or just does not fit? Having exceptional situational awareness and the ability to make super detailed observations about the people and objects within your environment is pretty cool. And you don't have to be a covert operative to acquire these skills. Color codes describe the 5 levels of situational awareness. Let's begin empowering your mind for this mission by understanding the color codes of awareness. Originally developed for the military, the color codes serve as a scale of readiness. These codes allow you to match your level of awareness with the situation, preparing you to transition from one state of readiness to another more rapidly. The codes are designated with the following colors: white, yellow, orange, red, and black. White signifies that a person is unaware and unprepared. You don't want to be white. A stereotypical example of this is the person walking along, drinking coffee and texting, who then either trips on the broken sidewalk or walks smack into someone. Yellow is alert and relaxed. You are scanning the environment, taking everything in and keeping a check on things, but in a calm manner. Orange is an elevated status. You have identified a potential threat. Red is off the charts alert. There is a definite threat. Black is when you are actively engaged in combating the threat. And we are black, actively engaged in combating the threat calmly with information. Now, if we have to get physical, of course, that will necessarily take place. But we are actively engaged in combating and countering the attacks that are taking place through what M70 has identified as the Urugu culture, or the virus of white supremacy, of spiritual evil. This is what we're actively engaged in combating. So the ideal level of awareness level. Let's talk about what level of awareness is ideal for you at any given moment. It is virtually impossible to be on high alert 24 hours a day. Your body and mind require rest. And when we rest, most people are in white. This is the day of rest. It is intended for us to be at a white level, not completely unaware and out of tune, but in tune. But yet at peace. Yes, indeed. That good middle of the map road, orange. You're very well aware of all your environments, taking everything in. But if you are in a condition white, you are essentially unconscious and unable to react to the changes that are taking place around you. In this condition, when faced with an emergency situation or threat, your brain cannot switch gears fast enough to adjust to the changes, and ultimately you freeze, hesitate, or worse, you panic. If you freeze or panic and take no action at all, you fall victim to the situation. Because of this, the majority of the time, your awareness level should be a condition yellow. Remember, in yellow, you are alert but relaxed. This is a state of mind that can be maintained indefinitely without the stress and fatigue associated with focus, awareness, or high alert. Yellow is good for Endtimes Madness. But as M70 said, orange is where you want to be. You want to take everything in, process it, but be relaxed in the process of doing it. Relaxed awareness allows you to casually center on what is happening around you and gives you the ability to move through your daily tasks and life without tiring while offering an effective level of personal security. Orange is like almost a level of Tai Chi. For anyone who practices martial arts, particularly Kung Fu, the softer styles, you're relaxed, you're at ease, you're flowing, but you're very well aware and taking in everything around you. Okay? So this is something that we have to practice and become aware of doing. Give yourself the tactical advantage. Starting now, practice the condition of relaxed awareness. Start at yellow. Okay? Get more aware of your surroundings. Then if a situation starts to develop, you are aware of it and can switch gears to whichever condition of readiness fits the circumstances. You are now more prepared to handle the change from a potential threat to an actual threat. On the other hand, if the threat proves innocuous, you can drop back to your relaxed state of awareness again. Stay tuned. Well, we'll just stay right there, okay? Keep your levels up, okay? That's crucial. M70, if you can now, I'm going to give you the link. We're going to go to the book of 2nd Esdras. We're going to look at chapter 7. We're going to read verses 16 through 35. That's the link right there for you all for this particular passage that we're about to close out with. And I'm going to have a video and close it out. When you get to chapter 7, verse 16, please post that for me, Bavakasha. 16 through 35. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom and welcome to those just now entering into Hebrew Vision. We're closing up this particular presentation entitled Endtimes Madness. Here we go. Why have you not considered in your mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present? Are you not looking down the road? Are you not taking in what all of this is leading to? Then I answered and said, oh yeah, that bears rule the true power. You have ordained in your law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly or the wicked should perish. How much comfort do you having, knowing that the righteous will inherit all these things, but the wicked should and will perish. Nevertheless, now listen to this, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. And he said unto me, there is no judge above Elohim, and none that hath understanding above El Elyon. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the Torah of Yah that is set before them. Remember, the Gentiles rage because they want to tear off the ropes and take off the bonds that they have with Yah, which relates to the Torah. For Yah hath given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things. Why do the Gentiles rage and pretty much plot vanity, is what it's saying. So they decided themselves by their wicked deeds, instead of the Most High, that he is not, and knew not his ways. By his law they have despised and denied his covenants. In his statutes have they not been faithful, and have not performed his works. And therefore, Esdras, for the empty are empty things, and for the full are the full things. Those who are empty and void, those who are chaos and void. This is what this talks about. This is what you see in Genesis 1. The darkness, the emptiness, the void, the tohu vabohu. Okay? But for those who are full, that is where the light exists. These are those who reflect Yah's image and his likeness, those who have the divine intelligence and perception, so that they may become conformed into the image of the Son. Behold, the time shall come that these tokens which I have told thee shall come to pass, and the bride shall appear. Who is the bride? Can someone type in the text box who the bride is? Who is the bride? Us. What's our name? What name has he given the bride? Israel. Even more so, he's given us the name of Sion. Sion. That's the name he has given us. Or the renewed Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim Chadashah. So the bride shall appear, and she coming forth shall be seen, that now is withdrawn from the earth. And whoever is delivered from the foresaid evils shall see my wonders. For my son, Yahoshua, shall be revealed with those that be with him. Listen to that. He shall be revealed with those that be with him. Shall that say within those that shall be with them? And they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. After these years shall my son Mashiach die, and all men that have life. And the world shall be turned into the old silent 7 days, like as in the former judgments, so that no man shall remain. And after 7 days the world that yet awaketh not shall be raised up, and that shall die that is corrupt. And the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her. And so shall the dust those that dwell in silence. And the secret places shall deliver those souls that were committed unto them. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, and the long suffering shall have an end. But judgment only shall remain. Truth shall stand, and faith shall wax strong. And the work shall follow, and the reward shall be showed, and the good deeds shall be of force, and wicked deeds shall bear no rule. Selah and hallelujah. I'm going to play this song for you all as relates to End Time Madness. And close on this note. Let's take a listen to this song. Here we go. As it loads up, give it just a brief moment. And in the meantime, I pray that all the words and the articles that have been shared with you all have been to your edification, to your enlightenment. They have provided you with insight and a knowledge of how these end times have truly caused many to go mad, and how we are to be aware and understand how to navigate through these times with wisdom, with the spirit of Yah within us, so that we may overcome this world and give the kingdom, or take the kingdom and then give it back to our Abba and our King. So as this cues up, we'll get this going. Some of you don't want to play. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and close it. Just bring up the next speaker, but I'm going to go ahead and close out with a Hatsi Kaddish. Thank you all for your ear, for your undivided attention, for your time, and for your choosing the fellowship with Hebrew Vision here today. Morey Shebaniah is our next speaker. Go ahead and raise your hand as soon as I get done with the Hatsi Kaddish. The microphone will be yours. As I want to always give esteem and praise to Yah for all that has been spoken in truth. If anything has been an error, please continue to bear patience with me, as I'm also striving to become more conformed into the image of my master, my redeemer, my bridegroom, who is Mashiach Yahushua. So with that, Yikadav, Yikadesh, Shemay Rabah, Yamadi Barak Herote, Vayimelich Malkute, Bakayahunav Yamihunav Kaye, the Kolbeit Yisrael, Bagala, Uvizman, Kari, Vimeru. Amen. Yeheshmei Rabba Mavorak, Le Olam Ulme Almaya. Yit Barak Vayish Tabach, Vayipa'ar, Vayiromam, Vayit Naseh, Vayitadar, Vayitale, Vayitala, Shemay the Kudishah, Berekhu. Le'ela min kol barakata v'ashirata, tush bechata v'nechmata, damiran ba'alma, v'shem Mashiach Yahoshua, Baruch Hashem, hallelujah, hallelujah, and hallelujah, v'meru, amen. And without any further ado, I want to bring to the microphone a young fire breather who has sat at the feet of a fire breather and has learned words of wisdom and prophetic utterance and understanding of the times. And he is truly a man that I have come to admire and respect and love for so many years. As my oldest friend on earth, and Yah willing, I will be seeing him next month, and others in the land, getting this ticket together by next week, visiting you all. Hallelujah. But please, prepare yourselves to receive my brother and your brother, my Morey and your Morey, Shebaniah Ben Yehuda. I relinquish the mic. It's yours, Ak. One love. Shabbat Shalom. Shavua Tov.